Hello, Purpose Pursuers. We are talking today about why go through the blueprint process. So, I have my wonderful friend Frank here with me today, who is a fellow practitioner. And Frank is going to give us some insight in terms of why he started the process. But before we do, if you don't mind, Frank, I'm going to start with why I started the process,
Yeah.
which is unusual. Thank you, sir. It's unusual for me to say that because it looks as if I designed the process. The process started coming about in 2006 for me, and it's a long, long journey. But I want to today describe the story, the event that started it all for me. And it was merely a point of contrast. I say merely, and yet it was so, so significant. It was a significant point of contrast for me. It was one of those moments that you look back in your life and recognize that was a turning point. It was a defining moment. I could have gone one of two directions. One direction was just the same old, just continuing to put one foot in front of the other as if that was all there was. But then there was this other direction, and I had no idea. I couldn't look up on a map. I had no idea what it entailed or where it was going to take me. But I felt a call, a beckoning. Is there something more for me to do? And honestly, the call was not a question at all. It wasn't a question of was there something more for me to do? The call was, yeah, there is something more for you to do. And it didn't feel like I have to. Like I had the choice. I felt like I was free to choose. I could keep on keeping on. I was married. I had two boys, two young boys. I had a job, a nice place to live, all the things. I had friends. I was checking all the boxes. And yet there was an emptiness. There was a blandness, if you will, right in my blueprint, which we'll get to explaining later. Let's just for now suffice to say something that's significant to me is color. And my life at the time was devoid of color. So this was, like I say, 2006. It was 2006. It was kind of leading up to 2006. But in 2006, my young family and we went on a cruise to Alaska. It was up the interior passage of Alaska, and it was breathtaking. It was gorgeous. It was all the things that you could imagine. But something happened to me out there that was much more spiritual than that, much more spiritual than the color of the glaciers and the height of the mountains. It was a calling, as I say. The calling actually occurred out there. As we would stop at various ports and, view the passing scenery as the boat was sailing by the land, this calling of something bigger just kept coming to me. And Alaska, what a beautiful place for me to get this calling. There's purity there. There's largeness there. And that really describes the essence of this calling for me. And so I was left, it was a 7-day trip. I was left at the end of it still wanting more. I felt like I had only scratched the surface. So I remember very, very poignantly, even though this was close to 20 years ago now, I remember coming into port in Seattle. And I don't know if you've ever been on a cruise ship before, but you get off out of one door or out of one gangplank, if you will. So all of the passengers that had just gotten back were all being carted off down this one gangplank and over to the port in Seattle. However, as me and my little family, as we were traversing this gangplank, off to the corner of my eye, I noticed that there is another group of people getting on the ship already. And sure enough, they were the passengers coming in for the next cruise. It was amazing, the efficiency. So in that moment, I recognized, wow, if I wanted to, I could jump in the water, get on that other gangplank, and get back out there. I could get back out there because I felt, like I say, I felt like I had just scratched the surface of this amazing calling that I had no idea. There was no distinct promise. I didn't know what it would entail. I didn't know where I was going to go. I didn't know what changes would be made. I just felt this calling to do more and to be more, to have a more significant life than the one I had. And so, like I say, I just felt this pull to get back on the ship and go back out there. But of course, the answer wasn't out there. And I knew that. I knew that. So I went home, and for the next 6 months or so, I started to just ask the question again and again, why me? Why now? What does this mean? And what's the point? What's the purpose? What's the reason? So, as I started to dig into what I now call your blueprint, which is basically a toolbox that you're born with of purpose, values, skills, and passions that are unique to you. The combination is unique to you. Your blueprint is one of a kind. Now, I didn't have that terminology then. I only intuitively understood that I needed to become the scientist. I needed to study myself and figure out what was it that I could bring to the table for this calling? Why was this calling coming to me? And once again, as I mentioned at the very beginning, by a study of contrast. Here was my current life, here am I. And those two paths were definitely diverging. I felt my authentic self was offset slightly from my life as I was leading it. So, as I say, for the next 6 months or so, I was instinctively impelled to study. Now, out of that came the blueprint process because I realized in studying myself, oh my gosh, I would love to do this for other people. And that's why the blueprint process exists. And we, as in the other blueprint process practitioners, Frank being one, we do this webinar once a month and we call it the Purpose Pursuers because we want to freely share with people insights from the program so that you can assess for yourself. Is there a calling? Is there a something more for me? And of course, if there is, that's why we're here. And we have a website, blueprintprocess.com, plus this webinar. We've got our Instagram channel. We've got all kinds of things and ways in which you can reach out to us, any one of us, for some assistance or answer some of your questions as you consider, is there a calling for me to do something more? So that's why I initiated my own blueprint process because I felt this call, this option, this invitation, and I so desperately wanted to take it. Thank you for listening to my story. And Frank, I know this wasn't exactly what you were expecting today, but if you wouldn't mind taking us through your introduction to Blueprint and what caused you to take the bull by the horns and say yes to your own invitation to something more.
Well, when you came into my life, it was another piece, a big piece that actually was a kind of a confluence, if I could put it that way, of many different pieces that had been happening. Because we've been working together for about what, 7, 6? A
Sure.
while. We've been
I'm not
working
sure.
together for a while. And uh, the whole idea of the calling,
Mm,
the vocation, um, uh, while you were telling your story, I was thinking of the two words I was thinking was overtures,
mm,
like a symphony.
mm,
Uh, and it's kind of like a foretaste of bigger things. And along the way, there's glimmerings of what's going to take place. And yeah, it was the same for me because when I started talking with you, I was in this place of looking for yet another bunch of techniques or
Mm.
tactics to be successful. And that's the big thing. Everybody is like, you put success on the end of it, everybody's like, ooh, wow, something more that I could don, something more that I could put on.
Yeah.
And uh, uh, whether I like it or not, this is what I need to do to make my way, strive, claw,
Mm.
whatever. And when you came into my life at a pivotal point. Um, I had spent most of the prior decade and a half, we're going to say, in what I would look at as struggle and failure and all that baggage that goes with it. Oh, it's like uh, I'm living at the graces and goodness of other people and all these
Mm.
kinds of things, and I just don't really have what it takes. But man, I'm really going to try hard, and it was a very heavy thing.
Okay.
Going back to you entered my life at a pivotal point. The pivotal point was this: I was actually winning. I was going, wow, my training, my bag of tools was actually, well, when you entered my life, I had made a ton of money. And this was an indication to me that, yep,
Mm.
this is working finally. All of my preparation from years past was leading me somewhere. But I was listening to you, there's the blandness.
Mm.
I mean, I remember showing my wife the checking accounts, the filled up checking accounts, and she was incredulous. She was
Mm.
like, what is this, some kind of a joke? Because I'm a joker.
Oh.
She was used to that. And
Mm.
I go, no, this is really what the work has yielded, and the blandness of it. It was almost like you tear open your Christmas presents. Here we are, Christmas Eve. Open your Christmas presents, and maybe you got what you want. Maybe you've been thinking about it all year, for years. And a couple days later, it's kind of like, is this it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just wore off. But what lingered was this. Oh no, that was it. Oh
Mm.
no, I've got to put it on again. I've got to don the vestiture. I've got to, by the way, yesterday's tricks and techniques and tactics, I, I've already used them. I
Mm.
like walking around the big old box of used fireworks. It's like, what are those good for? For the garbage. And it's like, no, I gotta, and it was like this heaviness of, I don't know if I can do it. Because, and all the while, I'm losing this sense of the early parts of my life, way before you, Tammy, were these overtures, these glimmerings of there is more.
Mm.
I mean, voyaging to far off lands by myself and returning to tell the tale. And I was
Mm.
going, man, I liked that. I mean, going to a foreign university, that spoke a different language even, and thriving there, and leaving there going, no, I want more of that.
Yeah.
I want more. And all along the way, there's this thing of I don't really know who I need to be.
Mm.
I don't. I need something new. And when we started working together, this was again that piece of puzzle that came into play because I was already working with a man who's become a dear friend of mine,
Mm.
and he was exhibiting this way of being with me that I really loved. He wasn't looking, he called them contrivances.
Mm.
And I go, wow, that's kind of a negative. What contrivance? And he goes, what I want you to do is I just want you to be Frank
mm,
and tell me all about Frank. And what we're going to do is we're going to piece together the Frank that you really
mm,
are, and that is the authentic you that you get to go with it anywhere you want. There's nothing to put on there. It's just Frank. And uh, he would listen to my tales and things, and he would feed these things back to me, and I would go, I mean, some of you on this call today are going, yeah, I know what you mean. And I was like, yeah, this is what it feels like. It's like when somebody that gets me,
mm,
I go, and I want that. I want to be that person for people. I just love that. Going back to the thing of failing for many years going
mm,
forward, people would ask me, Frank, why are you continuing on this trail? It's yielding you nothing. And it's something in my mind. The calling was this. No, there's something here. There's something valuable here. Not obviously not for me. It's like, Frank, you're
mm,
broke.
mm,
You're living on, scraps and you're and glimmerings. And I'm going, no, but there's something here. There's something here that I need to stay. And because it's going to break. There's going
mm,
to be a breakthrough. And when we started working together, these breakthroughs came in the form of, well, my past is I love a blueprint.
mm,
The whole idea of blueprint is this is a pathway,
mm,
an instruction guide, if you will. Because in my past I was a draftsman, and getting to the point of creating a blueprint even was like that's an honorable thing. It's like, wow, I get to show other people how stuff goes together, and airplanes and all that kind of stuff. And it's like that is a valuable, worthy thing to do. And again, when we start talking about blueprint, it goes far beyond that.
mm,
And the more I want more of that that fullness, that heart that you get to experience when people. I didn't know what to make of it when I first saw it. People would actually get that ring of water in their
mm,
eyes when you
mm,
talk with them, and their lip starts quivering, and mine too, because I'm kind
mm,
of going, man, it's like in the past I would almost feel like running from that.
mm,
And it's like, no, this is where life really is this is where the wellspring is. This is
mm.
where the water gushes. And it's like, by the way, gushing is one of my favorite words. I like gushing. I'm a very gushing person. But the ability to actually like sit and listen, just like my close friend did with me, and then feed it back to me and have me go, I don't think I've ever had anybody listen to me like this before.
Mm,
Not my family, not my close friends, other like business coaches and no, no. And to have them feed it back and go, I'm getting in touch with this Frank that I have tried for so many years to change. It was
mm,
no good. And it's like, no. And to actually start getting the feedback from people saying, no, this is you. This
mm,
is wow. This because I would show my blueprint
mm,
when we finally put it together. I would show it to people that were close to me, and they would look at it and they would go, yeah, yeah, this is you. Wow,
mm,
did how did you do this? And I go, see, that's the culmination. That's the confluence. That's the thing
mm,
where when I walk into a crisis situation where people are they're not seeing hope, they're not seeing a life more, they're not seeing a life of abundance. They're actually looking at survival, if even that, and to actually bring that heart, that listening, that that calm,
mm,
that unrushed calm, um, uh, not as a positivity thing, but as like, this is real. I mean, your life is real. And to listen to people that are incarcerated and share with them what I hear from them is, this life that you're living has a purpose.
Mm,
Because there a lot of them are, "Oh, I'm just looking to get into a program, a rehab program, or find some place to live. I'm getting sprung on Saturday and I don't know where I'm going to live except under the bridge." And it's like, nah, no, there's more, but you don't see it. I didn't see it.
mm,
And I'm starting to wake up to that. And it's not like, oh, well, gee whiz, I'm the big guru. I'm the big no, no, no. It's like, look, what I want you to get a hold of here is what's always what you've always been able to get a hold of here. But what you haven't taken hold of it because of you've got all this stuff, all this cloud, these clouds in the way. Cloud, you know what they are. The clouds of, well, I don't think I can measure up to this. I don't think I'm smart enough. I'm not good looking enough. I'm the wrong ethnicity or color. What doesn't matter. And to really just release all that and see what God has to say about that. And in the midst of all of this, actually coming closer to God,
mm,
I'm happy to admit, then coming closer to God than I've actually ever been
mm,
in a religious setting.
mm,
Because I'm a pretty religious guy, but to be able to like, look, God, you created me. And you just didn't have 10 minutes to spare to do that. I mean, you created me on purpose. Let me in on this. I want to
mm,
know what the purpose is. And uh, my purpose, in a nutshell, is to help people really kind of unload all of the stuff, just like somebody helped me unload it. I
mm,
like to liken it to that truck that pulls up behind a department store and they throw open that big door and everything's all on pallets and it's all covered with plastic and everything. And forklift comes out and pulls all that stuff into the dock. It's all wrapped up,
mm,
and then a guy comes out and he basically cuts off that plastic. And what's there? Well, you got your candy canes, you got your t-shirts, socks, you got your laundry detergent, and he gets to unpack all that stuff and put it into the places where it's right. It goes there.
mm,
And people and people come in and all those things are deployed for use. And
mm,
I just love that. To be able to help people unload and then unpack, but more importantly, to deploy. Because it's not like, wow, because this is where I'm coming from. Man, I sure know a lot about my career. I mean, I know I could talk about it
mm,
endlessly. Yeah, but how can you actually make this valuable and useful? And it's like, yeah, there's the question. And then to actually get to that point where it's like people actually go, you've actually taken a complex, fearful, depressing, heavy and really made it light and useful. Not everything, but just the parts that really immediately go, yes, I have clarity now.
It's interesting because you talked about, we're often asked, what do you know about your industry? Because we're kind of supposed to, if we're going to be doing well in our industry, we should know a lot. But what you're talking about with the unloading, unpacking, and deploying is let's unload, unpack, and deploy your blueprint, your God-given self so that you can make change in the world.
Mm,
And the beautiful thing about that, instead of knowing a ton about your industry, is now you can take that blueprint that's behind you, that knowledge, and use it in everything that you do, not just your industry.
yeah. Uh, Case in point, I use it as I'm walking down the street.
All by yourself.
Yeah, I'm just walking down the street, getting some exercise, and I notice things that I've passed by them dozens of times. And it's just like I'll notice them and just the ideas that I get around them. And I share these things with other people, and people go, "Oh my gosh, I never saw that. I'm so glad you've been, something, I was just actually thinking about that the other day, but you actually put a language to it and wow, wow." And I go, I love that. I love that because in the past, we learn all this stuff about our career, stuff that nobody really cares about. And we think they ought to care about it.
Hmm.
And people try to tell you while you're trying to contrive this show for people about how worthy and how smart you are. They're going, "Look, Frank, I already like you. I love you, but
Mm.
look, just all I came in was for an apple. I didn't come in for the entire produce section, and just give me an apple." And it's
Mm.
like, yeah, to be able to actually clearly do that and have it be of value and use to somebody immediately. And
So
yeah.
how did we, and you're bringing up a really good point, to have it be of value and use to someone. And that we just know that that's the case with our blueprint. Otherwise, God wouldn't have placed it within us. So that's super powerful to know that what we have in our blueprint is automatically valuable to a certain group of people.
Mm.
So you've been referencing, for example, when you were talking about being on a walk, there are certain what we refer to as players in your blueprint that were operating while you were walking. And then there are certain players when you might be in a conversation with your wife or at the grocery store getting the last can of whipped cream, whatever. There's certain players that are getting on the court. We use the analogy of a basketball court because you can have typically 4 to 5 of these players that are in your blueprint operating at any given moment, creating value both for yourself and the people and the places around you. So, the first task of the blueprint process we simply refer to as research. Because if our goal is to help you achieve your purpose with your people, we first have to unpack, to use one of your words, your blueprint. So you know what your purpose is and how to actually get it out there for your people. So if you can take us back to the research portion when you and I were going through the process, how
Hmm.
did we uncover all these players in your blueprint? Do you remember?
Let me see. The thought that occurs to me is like, what is it that really lights me up?
Mm.
And the word I was coming to just moments ago is I have this curiosity.
Mm.
Am I on the right track here?
Go, please share what you're going
And
to share.
the curiosity is I'm curious about a lot of things. And in the past, it was like, why are you curious about that? It's not okay to
Mm.
be curious about that. My wife says this to me all the time. Sometimes and the curiosity, it draws me to a thing, a person. And I start making inquiries because I'm curious.
Hmm.
What kind of dog is that?
Hmm.
I mean, what does that say on your shirt? Uh, where, what part of the world are you from? All these kinds of things. And sometimes people are not comfortable with that.
Hmm.
And I would be uncomfortable with that. And the inquiry would stop. But now it's
Mm.
like, no, I'm just
Be
curious.
because we identified it as one of the players in your blueprint.
Yeah.
So why are you now comfortable using that player where before you weren't?
That's a God-given thing. And if God
Mm.
gives me something, I'm going to use it and I'm going to use it for all that it's worth. And it's not about being having it being approved out there in the
Mm.
world by
Huge.
and it's not that people are bad and nasty or whatever, or they're shut off or closed. No, it's like, no, this is Frank being Frank, and I'm going to
Hmm.
be curious and I'm going to see the humor
Mm.
in things.
So there's a
I
freedom to be
Yes,
yourself.
yes. Coming from the past, it's like, oh, it's kind of constricted and don't do that and look this way and watch your P's, watch your Q's, all this
Hmm.
kind of stuff. And now, yeah, get approval
Mm.
from everybody before you and it's very frustrating. It's very stifling.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people are like that. They're like they look around before they say something, and it's like, no,
Yeah.
just say what's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what you hear from people. Well, the first thing I hear from people is, "You're interested in about me?"
Oh, yeah.
And it's
So,
like, yeah, and it's not interested in you in order to get something.
mm,
I
yeah,
mean, all I really want to know is what kind of dog is that? What's his name?
it's
Why,
genuine
yeah,
interest.
why'd you name him that?
Yeah.
It's like, does he bite? Yeah.
So I'm super grateful that as part of the process, you identified players that are in your blueprint that God has given to you to use, and consequently, you've got the confidence now to use them. So,
Hmm.
going back to your analogy again of the big delivery truck, we unpacked them, we identified them, and now you're able to deploy them.
Hmm.
So the entire process is made up of a first half and a second half. The first half is research, the second half is application. So to your words, it's the unload, unpack, and then that's the research, and then the deploy part is the application. Now that you know your blueprint, let's get you out there and using it in everything that you do, whether you're by yourself on a walk or at a grocery store or with your client or whatever. So let's go back to the research and your analogy. It serves as a great analogy for the research process. So you're talking about this big delivery truck backing up to the loading dock and someone coming out, one of the blueprint process practitioners. So in your case, it was me. I came out with my little knife and I cut all the plastic. And we can make the analogy of the plastic to be all those things that would constrict us,
Hmm.
all those things that would constrict our blueprint. So other people's expectations, our job description, our boss, negative feedback, just that, like you mentioned, oh,
Hmm.
put that away.
Certifications,
Nice.
all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff, degrees, all that
Per
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yep. Perfect. Yep. So as a practitioner, we are able to cut that away because we're saying, look, dude, all this wrapping is nothing compared to the gold that is within you. And it was interesting because you actually listed four things, which is ironic because that were on that truck. It's ironic because there are four things in the blueprint, right? They're your purpose elements, your values, your skills, and your passions. And you listed four things, I think t-shirts, socks, candy canes, and laundry detergent, right?
Right. Oh,
You did. Yeah, it's perfect. So here am I. I'm the practitioner and I am studying you and I'm studying your blueprint. So I've taken my knife, I've cut away the plastic, and now I'm starting to get in there and help you identify, okay, let's say your values are the laundry detergent, your skills are the socks, your passions are the t-shirts, and your purpose elements are the candy canes. And in order for us to do that, in order for us to unpack, and you mentioned, let's put the laundry detergent where the laundry detergent goes. Let's put the t-shirt where the t-shirts go. How did we identify your players? Do you remember what we did on every single call? Do you remember what you did and what I did on every single call to identify the close to 100 players you have in your blueprint within those four categories? Do you
hmm.
remember?
It's been quite a while.
It's really
So,
quite simple. I basically was asking you the question every single week. Hey, how you doing?
that is the simplicity of it. In fact, that's our weekly call. And
And then what happens? So I asked a question, then what do you do?
I unload.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
basically unload. I deploy. I unload what all that has been going on then and currently.
Yep.
What I'm
And we
thinking
do this.
about it. What I'm
Yep.
feeling about it
Yes.
even. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So we're doing this weekly for an hour. And sometimes I could get on the call and say, "Hey Frank, how was your week? How you doing?" And you'd
Mm,
start talking and pretty much you would talk and not just you, this is true for everybody. It
mm,
feels so good, right? To just be yourself with someone that you know is not judging you. In fact, what you know as someone who's going through the blueprint process is that other person that's listening to you, they're actually trying to find your good. So as
yeah.
you're sharing and unloading, I, as practitioner, Frank, I've got myself a little Google Doc workbook that has the four categories.
Mm,
The one for the t-shirts, the laundry detergent, the socks, and the candy canes, or the purpose elements, the values, the skills, and the passions. So as you, Frank, are talking, you're not trying to find your skills, were you?
no, no.
You're just answering the question.
Yeah. It was like they were already in there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so another the thing I was thinking of when you were talking is you mentioned this the other day. It's like we live in a world where people, when you ask them, tell me about your life, they go, "Oh, it's going good."
Yeah.
Yeah, how are you doing? "Oh, I'm good."
Yeah.
And what you were saying is, as a point of practice and principle, whenever I ask you how you doing, I want the long version every time.
Nice.
I want the long
Yes.
version because
Yes.
in the long version, that's the ore.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
the big steam shovel that goes into the earth and drags all that stuff. And they throw it out on that big old tray. It's not usable.
Yeah.
But there's iron in there. It's like, man, it's gonna find all kinds of diamonds or whatever. It's like, yeah,
Absolutely.
I I wanna I wanna hear that. I wanna hear it because
Yep.
in there are the gems.
Yep.
In there are the nuggets.
Ugh.
That's where you live, by the way.
Yep.
Not the what do you call it? The dross. The gold is
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And for one reason or another, you're just kind of hesitant. You're apprehensive about bringing all that stuff out for, I don't think people are gonna. No, I want to hear about it. So yeah,
Yeah. Oh, we do want to hear about it, don't we? It's
yeah,
so fun.
because
It's
that's
like,
where the goods are. It's like,
yeah.
man, it's like, no, well, I don't think anybody wants to hear about it. I do.
Yeah.
I want
That's
to hear
where
about it.
that's where God is.
Yeah.
So we get to see when we're listening to you answer the question, how was your day? How was your week? How you doing? Something like that.
Hmm.
We're getting to see the God that is within you. And so when I'm filling stuff in the workbook, that's what I'm filling in. Oh, there's a skill. Oh, there's a
Mm-hmm.
passion. And I might ask you a follow-up question because I feel like there's more to it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So you're absolutely right. People come to this assuming that they just don't have that much. Like maybe 20 skills, maybe a couple passions, sure, some values, 10 values or so. Purpose, I don't know. So there's this feeling of heaviness and responsibility like I don't know what my blueprint is. I can't help you.
Mm-hmm.
But in actual fact, you help me, you help us as practitioners by just sharing, trusting me enough that you're willing to answer the question, how are you doing, with, as Frank pointed out, the rest of the story.
That's that. You mentioned a word a little while ago called confidence, and confidence is
Yeah.
not. It's trust, and people don't trust unless they're close,
Mm.
and you never get to the bottom of anything. It's all
Mm.
like surface topical, and then you
Yes.
get down to the nitty gritty with people, and you go, "There's a heart and a soul in there, and look at it bubbling." I
Yep.
mean, you love people, you have passions that you've kept down, you've stifled these things.
Mm.
I didn't know that about you. Tell me about the language thing. I mean, why Swahili or whatever?
Yes.
Like, tell me,
Yes.
well, it's just some little dalliance. No, it's not.
Right, right, right. Yeah.
Because there's the dreams that are glossed over and waxed over for years and years and years. That's the unrequited love that
Yeah.
keeps you going. Oh, well, nobody's really interested in hearing about what what mysteries would be revealed in just people
Mm.
sharing what's really on, what's bothering, what are you afraid about? What's been holding you up? It's like, and not getting judgment. See, that's the thing. And
Yes.
really realizing that this judgment thing,
Yeah.
it's re it's really a lie. It's like, what would you do if nobody was judging you?
Yeah, that's right.
And people go, yeah, what would you enter the dance floor if you
Mm.
didn't feel like some geek or something or whatever? Guess what? You're not a geek.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and people go, this is okay for me to talk about. Yeah. Yeah, we're not talking about deep, dark, creepy mystery novels type of secrets. We're talking about where people live.
Yeah.
And they go,
And
wow, I know this kind of sounds silly for a guy, but I love preparing things to cook. I love the knife work with the vegetables and stuff.
now what
Well,
happens,
what's up
Frank?
with that? Tell me
What?
what.
Yeah. So what happens there? That you're bringing up a really good example of something that happens as people are going through the process, and that is, okay, so let's say, Frank, let's switch roles. You're my practitioner, right? And I'm the client. I'm going through the process. And I tell you, which is not true, by the way, but let's just say that I do like cooking. I like preparing things to cook. Well, I don't want to be a cook, though,
Uh-huh.
right? So, what do we do as practitioners in that situation? Are we really looking for jobs for people? Or what do you do when someone's telling you, dude, I love to prep food? Are you saying, oh, well, then you should be a short order cook?
No,
So what do you do?
okay. How is that? What draws you to that? It's like, and why that? Where else does this show up for you? Well, it's not just vegetables. I kind of like this with believe it or not, I like to sew. What do you like to sew? What was that? Well, I like making sales for some. Whoa. So, but you just told me wow. So what's is it? Can you see yourself? People going, wow, I just put it away a long time ago.
Hmm.
Maybe it's time to take a look, a rethink, a reframe about that.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
people go, can I? Can I? And yeah, you can.
Yeah. And when you pull the layer back like that and you realize, okay, it's not just prepping food, it's over here and it's over there. You're
Mm,
finding skills, values, passions, purpose elements that can literally be used anywhere.
hmm
So I like the follow-up questions that you were just sharing, like, well, why is that? Or when is that? Or how is that? So you like to, let's just imagine there's a big fat carrot in front of you and you love cutting up that carrot. So you, as practitioner, Frank, you ask them a follow-up question like, tell me about that, or why is that, or whatever. And
mm,
then the person might say, oh, dude, I love the sound
hmm Yes.
and I love the precision
Mm.
when those pieces, those slices are just so. And then I love the feel of the scooping up and then dumping them in the pot.
Oh yeah, I love the steel. I like the manufacture of the cutting implement. I
Nice.
like the board. Look at the craftsmanship. It's like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa.
So once again, we're seeing color because there are a bajillion people out there who love cutting carrots. But the reason why they love to cut carrots, the why of cutting carrots, the how, all of that, all of those follow-up questions
Mm,
in there, embedded in just that single story of cutting up carrots, could literally be 5 players in your blueprint.
right,
Value, skills, passions, purpose elements. We don't know until we
right.
ask you that question. But yes, thank you so much. I
But
had,
there was
yeah,
one
go
other
ahead,
thing, if I could.
please.
We talked about this a lot because I came from this environment where, okay, I'm the big head honcho now, and I need to fix you. I need to fix you
Mm.
up over there, and people really love that because they're expecting, okay, what are you going to do? Give me a job class? No, no, no. You already,
Oh,
you
sure.
already, you already know all that stuff. That's already in there with you. What we're
Yeah,
doing is we're just laying the stuff open
yeah.
to light, and you're going to come to your own conclusions. By the way, the the direction you were going long ago, and I'm not here to correct that or
Yeah.
fix that for you or to say,
Yeah.
oh, something. I think that's no. And
Yep.
people just kind of go, oh, wow. It's okay to think and feel and enjoy these kinds of things. And it's like, yeah, that's what drives you.
Yep. And because you've identified it for them, let's say we found the five players out of the cutting of the carrots. It doesn't matter whether they're purpose, values, skills, or passions, but because we found them, and by the way, we love, as practitioners, we love to do the mirroring technique, which is not the psychological definition that you'll find in the dictionary. When we talk about mirroring, like this mirror here, you can see that my hand's there. Whatever my hand is doing, that the mirror is mirroring that back. As practitioners, that's what we do for you. As Frank mentioned, we do not give you advice. All we're doing is we're saying, oh, that right there is a really amazing skill. Where else do you find yourself using that? Or that's an incredible value. How are you bringing that into your world? Are there other ways that you could bring that into the world? So we're literally just pointing things out. We're mirroring back to you what we see in you, the skills, values, passions, purpose elements. Now, Frank, back to your analogy of unloading, unpacking, and deploying. If I'm telling you, Frank, we're going to switch roles again. If I'm telling you, here are five things I've just discovered about your blueprint through the story of you cutting carrots, what can you now and what should you do now that you know these five new players in your blueprint? It's the third word in your truck analogy.
Where you can use them now,
Yes. Yes.
meaning put the players into play.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, okay, take them out of the warehouse, put
Yeah.
them onto the field.
Yep.
And that's when people have this, wow, the capability, the availability. And it's like,
Mm.
there's no, I was lacking. And it turns out, no, I have plenty.
Yep.
I have
And
plenty.
what we find, and you and I were just talking about this morning, when you are yourself, your authentic self, now that you know it, now that you see yourself. So Frank has behind him his blueprint. His blueprint has displayed in that beautiful blue and white banner and all those circles. Frank has displayed his close to 100 players that fall into the four categories: skills, values, passions, purpose. Because he has that on his wall, he goes into every day with that puppy in his brain. And he can now go with confidence with the God that is within him out into his everyday with confidence, with transparency, with gusto. And
Mm.
what was your word earlier? Gushing.
Gushing. I can gush,
And
yeah.
and when we gush of that which is within us, the whole world opens. Right projects, right relationships, right people, right opportunities come calling because we've got the guts to gush, as Frank said. Now that we know what our blueprint holds, we can get it out there and share it
Mm.
with the world.
And that's a big deal, getting it out there, deploying it versus, well, I don't, I mean, I really don't have anything to offer.
Hmm.
Sure you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, get it out there. And well, we were talking about this just recently. I need to curate
Mm.
something. I need to fix it up just so it'll be acceptable by X, Y, and no, you know.
Yeah. Right.
It's like
Just like,
how often has it been where I'll share this idea, this impulse that I have, and people go, something, I'm so glad you said that. And
mm.
I'm going, what? They're going, well, this you just hit on it right here and here and
Mm.
here. Wow. 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 And they start writing something down. You say, what are you writing down? Man, this is like you, man, this I could leave now, but what you just, and I'm kind of going, whoa. And that's, what about you? What about you? What about you over there? See,
Hmm.
everybody's got the blueprint. They just don't,
Hmm.
they just don't know they have
Yep, absolutely.
it.
Because
Everybody's got
they've,
this yearning. Everybody's got this yearning in them,
hmm.
but they're like sitting in the sideline, just kind of going, I don't think that. And it's like, oh, for the glory of
Mm.
God, it's like, look, you can, you can gush, just gush
Yeah,
away.
gosh, that's
Like
right.
almost like a childlikeness. They don't have any of that kind of stuff
Nice.
where, well, I don't really think I ought to mention. Have you ever known a kid like that?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, they express. They don't need to be coaxed to express. They just do.
Yep,
And
the
I,
freedom.
I was like that at one time, and I go, I'm like that now. It's actually it's like I'm returning to this way of that, and when I'm doing that, it actually gives people this kind of like, well, I'm going to use the word allow. That allows them to kind of
Of
go,
course.
wow, you don't seem to mind dancing. I mean, I
Hmm.
guess I'll dance too.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's
an
like,
invitation.
yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you're describing, I think, is the plastic that the that's packed around
Mm,
the laundry detergent, the socks, the t-shirts, and the candy canes.
yep.
That feeling of should, expectation, the carrot and the stick. And that if we stay in that shape, that square shape, we will literally be just like everybody else. So
Hmm.
the willingness, the guts that it takes to break out. And Frank, what was it like for you having someone, myself, in your corner who knew your blueprint? What was that like as you tried to have guts to be your transparent self, to breathe, to gush, to get out of that plastic? What was it like having me alongside?
Well, I liken it to the Sherpa,
Hmm.
but to get really down to the nitty gritty of it is, I kind of liken it to a good friend
Hmm.
who is there to, they got their arm around your shoulder and they're just there for you. It's
Hmm.
very, it's comforting, but there's an all rightness to it.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, you feel at ease. There's an ease that gives you a look-see that, this isn't just something that this is not a way that I can be with Tammy. It's all right. You
Yeah.
can, when you are freed up from trying to appear or convey a
Hmm.
certain thing, life is much more fun. Let's use that word. It's much more fun.
Nice.
And um and it's almost like this. People go, man, you're such a funny guy, me. And I go, I don't see myself as a funny guy.
Hmm.
But people are enjoying this experience. I don't have a shtick like a comedian. Just things occur to me now that are like, and I just portray things or describe things in a certain way, and people are like, I think you missed your calling, Frank. I think you actually should be a stand-up. In fact, you'd be the only guy in your industry that would be a stand-up, because your industry really needs a stand-up guy. This is funny. All I'm saying is, but that freedom to
Yeah.
actually be that light and that life, not a showman. It's, look, this is who I am, and I'm having a good time.
Hmm.
That's why I'm doing that. Because me first and foremost, I'm having a good time. I feel okay with doing
Hmm.
it and being this way. And people kind of go, "Oh, I like that. I want that."
Yeah.
That was what I did when I was working with you. It was like,
Hmm.
the beginning days, it was like, I want that. I'm
Hmm.
not quite sure what that is, but I want that.
Yeah. Yeah, the
Yeah.
freedom. You've used that word. I love that word, the freedom to be yourself. And let's just face it, we'll wrap up with this. When you begin this journey, all of us, Frank, me, the other practitioners, any of our clients, when you begin the journey of understanding your one of a kindness, you're beginning a journey that could appear quite lonesome because you are one of a kind. So nobody else is out there like you. Nobody. And that can feel quite lonely, quite solitary, quite scary, dark. However, if you've got a practitioner next to you who has helped you uncover your one of a kindness, you no longer feel alone.
Mm.
You have that side by side, like a motorcycle sidecar. You're the motorcycle driver. You are the client. The person going through the process, you're driving the motorcycle. The practitioner's in the sidecar with a big old grin on his or her face, goggles on, helmet, ready to go. Yeah. And so then the journey isn't so alone. You've always got someone to come back to who's not judging you, doesn't have an agenda other than uncovering your blueprint and helping you live your purpose for your people. They just want to see your best. They want to see your fulfillment. They want to help you achieve that something more that you want to achieve.
Mm.
So, all of the practitioners here, we've chosen to be practitioners because it is the most authentic use of our blueprint. We know our blueprints and we've looked at everything else, and nothing else gives fuller expression of our blueprint than being your practitioner.
Mm.
So we invite you along the journey to discover that something more that you have within you, just like Frank talked about, that big old truck that's unloading the pallet full of socks, t-shirts, candy canes, and laundry detergent. But in
Mm.
your case, it's your purpose, your values, your skills, and your passions, and we can't wait to rip that plastic off and
Deploy it. Get it
yeah,
out there. Get it
yeah,
out there.
yep, and be your greatest cheerleader.
Enter
So,
the enter the dance floor.
nice, and dance in your own one of a kind way. Thank you, Frank, for hanging out with me today.
Thank you, Tammy.
We'll see you all next time.
It's always fun.
I agree.